Welcome to the That's Good Broncos prediction episode. I am Brandon Perna, President-elect, and today I'm breaking down the matchup between the Saints and Broncos. And let me just say this now. The Saints have looked good the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to be tough on the Broncos this week. This is the tough love, scared straight into winning episode. Straight as in straight and narrow, not gay to straight. That would be ridiculous. That's Good Broncos. The Broncos will be playing in New Orleans, aka NOLA, aka the place I got gonorrhea, but also learned how to transfer it to my enemies via voodoo. Now, the Saints are not my enemy. How can you hate the Saints? But this week, I'm using voodoo on them to uncurse the Broncos after the Raiders smashed them. And this week, I'm calling upon possibly the worst football movie in the history of football movies, a saintly switch, to help me help the Broncos destroy the Saints. New Orleans gets a half point for home field advantage. Help us give it to them, a saintly switch.
But now you're just a liability.
Man, I'm the best quarterback you got.
Gary Kubiak versus Sean Payton Manning. Yes, I said Sean Payton Manning. How do you think he beat Peyton in the Super Bowl? And don't you think Peyton threw that game for his dad, former Saints QB Archie Manning, and to help heal the city of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina? Peyton's got a heart of a fucking saint. Yeah, exactly. After last week's horrendous offensive performance, I don't know how on earth I'd be able to give Gary Kubiak a point here. And now the defense is extremely banged up. The Saints have won 2 in a row, defeating San Francisco and Seattle. Half point here for the Saints, brought to you by the fake coach of the Saints.
What is he doing, Anderson? What are you doing out there?
You couldn't have embarrassed yourselves anymore out there if you were wearing ladies' underwear.
Trevor Siemian and Broncos ball catchers versus Saints secondary. Saints safety Kenny Vaccaro is facing a 4-game suspension after testing positive for Adderall, which makes me wonder what the hell he's trying to stay up late to study for. He's still eligible to play this week against the Broncos, which sucks because he's probably the best player in that secondary. They have Von Bell, half Von Miller, half Tatum Bell at safety, and B.W. Webb and Ken Crawley at corner. You guys probably don't know any of these players because the Saints are allowing 29.8 points per game and giving up 300 passing yards per game. Jairus Byrd at safety hasn't panned out for the Saints after they gave him a disgusting amount of money. Last week, we saw Virgil Green uncharacteristically drop 2 passes. A very important one on 3rd down. Demaryius Thomas was targeted 10 times and caught 5 balls. You can't have that from your number 1 receiver. And that's not an isolated incident. Since week 6, DT has been targeted 10 times every game, only catching 5 of those targets each week, except against Houston where he caught 6. Since Houston, Sanders has been just as bad, 4 of 8, 4 of 10, 5 of 11. These two are underperforming, but it's not all their fault. Siemian has missed some of the throws to DT and Sanders. They've dropped some of the passes, and some of the balls, while catchable, have not been perfect because Siemian is throwing in the face of getting blasted in the motherfucking face. Honestly, if I'm Kubiak, I send a message, just like Bill Belichick would do. And you give guys who aren't going to drop the ball the most targets. Is it Benny Fowler or Jordan Taylor? Who the fuck knows at this point? Siemian is learning to be a QB. He's going to miss some reads every game. That's part of the process, which makes the play from the veterans, DT, Sanders, and Green, even more important. A mistake here and there is fine, but if they don't help their young QB out, break a tackle, make a tough catch, turn a small gain into a big gain, nothing is going to change on this offense. No points here because both units are bad. Roll the clip.
What are you looking at, hairball?
Broncos secondary versus Drew Brees and the Saints ball catcher boys. Last week, the Saints beat up on the 49ers 41-23. Yes, my head itches. And the Saints offense is firing on all cylinders. And they're driving a fucking V8, not some Frankenstein smart car / Prius like the Vikings offense drives. We know Drew Brees is going to play like a pro. He was Russell Wilson before Russell Wilson, except he had sex with his fiancée. In my opinion, Brees is the best quarterback in the game. I'd take him over any other QB right now, even though Matt Ryan is technically playing better. Listen to this. So far, the Broncos secondary has faced Matt Ryan, Drew Brees this week, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, and Derek Carr. Right now, those are the top 5 passing leaders in the NFL. You know Brandin Cooks and Willie Snead, but Drew Brees' new number 1 guy is Michael A. Thomas. Over the last 3 games, he has 21 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and 266 yards, with 5 total touchdowns on the season. The Saints currently lead the NFL with 326.4 passing yards per game. Brees is so good, he makes tight end Kobe Fleener look good. With an offense racking up 434 yards a game, that's insane. We saw Bradley Roby struggle last week, and even though I thought he played well, Chris Harris drew back-to-back PI calls. One was BS, but the secondary didn't look great. They did, however, hold Derek Carr in the number 5 passing offense to 183 yards, primarily because Oakland had no goddamn reason to pass. Talib is still out, which means this unit is vulnerable, and they better pray the front 7 can stop a surging Saints rushing attack. I get Brees and the receivers, half point, inspire them, fake QB from Saints.
Well, there's no wonder this team has the worst record in the league. These guys are out there playing their hearts out for you, and what do? You treat them like doo-doo.
Broncos O-line and running backs versus Saints front 7. The Saints share a 3-way tie with 11 sacks on the season as the worst in the NFL. Up front, the Saints are not intimidating. Their best D lineman is Cameron Jordan. Paul Kruger and Nick Fairley do their jobs better than Crick and Williams, which currently isn't saying much. Like Denver, they're better on the edge than the interior, and linebackers Craig Robertson, not to be confused with the hilarious Craig Robinson, is stout against the run and also had a pick last week. This is the matchup that will win or lose the game for the Broncos, mark my words. Losing CJ Anderson hurt more than people realize, and the line continues to struggle, although the Broncos' meager 12 rush attempts last week was not the running back's fault. Denver can have success here against the Saints, and I believe Gary Kubiak will commit to running the ball. Victory comes if Denver keeps Brees off the damn field. The Saints give up an average of 108 yards a game on the ground. Devontae Booker and Capri Bibbs can take advantage if given the opportunity. I have to believe in success here. Otherwise, there's little hope for the Broncos offense this week. Half point here for Denver. Not because I think the Broncos are better in this department, but because they simply have no other choice. Saintly, switch them.
Back to me. Are you back-talking me? Don't you back-talk me! And what are you looking at?
Saints O-line and running backs versus Broncos front 7. Have you noticed a theme yet this season? The teams with good offenses have good offensive lines. Great QBs can make up for some deficiencies in protection, but even they need consistency. The Saints offensive line is good, and their best player, Zach Strief, is the right tackle facing Von Miller. Left tackle, Taron Armstead, also pretty good when healthy, but may not play with a knee injury. He re-aggravated against San Francisco. That would move Andres Pete from guard to left tackle, leaving at very least some uncertainty on that left side. Luckily, Denver won't be facing a 340-pound Donald Penn this week, or as Donald Stevenson calls him, the Donald I wished I could be. Too much Donald talk this week, that's all I know. The Saints' Mark Ingram had a huge day Sunday with 158 yards on the ground with a long 75-yard touchdown run, and Tim Hightower also galloped for 87 yards, giving the duo 245 rushing yards. Not exactly what the Broncos needed this week. Derek Wolfe is out for 2 to 4 weeks with a hairline fracture in his elbow. This is a huge blow to the weakest unit on the defense. Jared Crick was moved at will by the Raiders offensive line along with Sly Williams. Billy Wynn will see more playing time, as may Adam Gotsis and possibly Darius Kilgo, who wasn't even active last week. I mention them all because someone has to step up, and my money is on All he does is Billy fucking win. All he does is Billy win. The reason Oakland knocked out 200 rush yards is because they dominated the line of scrimmage. New Orleans could do the same, coming off a 200-yard day of their own. Denver needs DeMarcus Ware to be more effective and see Von Miller play out of his mind. Brandon Marshall made a difference in his return, but I saw pulling guards own Broncos linebackers trying to fill gaps. Without Wolfe, and after a bad beating, I give the Saints a slight 0.25 advantage. Give it to them, David Allen Greer. Special teams versus special teams. McManus, very good. Dixon, pretty good. The return game, terrible. Last week, the Broncos kept trying to return kicks from the end zone and repeatedly found themselves with shitty field position. It was a big factor in that game. The Saints kicker, Will Lutz, is okay, but he's light enough to be hoisted like a trophy by tight ends. Since there's no wind in the Superdome, there's no chance he'll be blown away by a strong gust. Like Denver, the Saints' return game is non-existent. Half point here for the Broncos, duo McManus and Dixon. Do the clip. Yeah, the Saints have a clear advantage in my point system, and it's accurate. They are a team on the rise, and the Broncos are a team struggling on offense and dealing with significant injuries. This defense is talented enough to keep the game close, and if Denver can run the ball, they can get a win, but I don't see it happening this week. Special teams coach Joe DiCamillo said Shiloh Kao, signed by the Saints, is probably singing like a canary, spilling all the secrets to the Saints. Plus, New Orleans' injury report was real helpful this week. Who the fuck runs that website? All right, now it's not all bad news. Bear with me here. Last season, the Broncos suffered 2 sets of 2 losses in a row. They have to lose this week to win the Super Bowl again. Plain and simple. You've got to repeat what you did the year before to win the Super Bowl again. Then, during the bye week, the Broncos re-signed Peyton Manning to really shake things up. It's a move nobody sees coming or even thinks can happen. But it's the only thing that could save the team. Denver still has talent, so I am hoping to be wrong this week, just like I am hoping to be wrong about the new president-elect. This week, more than any week in my human history, I want to be dead fucking wrong. Pray that I am fucking wrong. Broncos lose 27-20 in New Orleans.
All right, fellas, time to do it. Let's go.
Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. Make sure you subscribe here, and Jesus Christ, give me a follow on Twitter. I am so active on Twitter during the games. It's fun to chat on Twitter, so hit me up on Twitter. Also, check out the Mile High Report, the Broncos blog of all Broncos blogs, and for all of your Denver sports news needs, go to bsndenver.com.